Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Last night, put out a video on the airstrike on Syria, which was late February 25th, 2021 in the U.S., and in the early hours of the day, about 1 a.m., February 26th, Syria time. And if you missed that video, you can go back and watch it. Beware, YouTube is now labeling my videos as QAnon, which is absolute defamation of character. I've always spoken out against the QAnon psyop. I said when it first came out, it was something being promoted by Google, and I said ultimately it'll be used to discredit all of us. We'll all be accused of being QAnon. These are things I said years ago. And here it is, the QAnon label's now on my videos, even though I always spoke out against it and said exactly what it is. And for the record, you guys, it's not an accident that in Gematria, QAnon equals Google. Yes, it does, and that is not an accident. It's because it's all one and the same. QAnon is a Jesuit psyop. Google is controlled by Jesuits, like all of big tech, just like the federal government's controlled by the Jesuits. And again, that's what we're going to be talking about. How the Jesuits are clearly responsible for the attack on Syria, has nothing to do with their puppet Joe Biden, just like the last airstrike on the Iranian war general Soleimani by the Jesuit puppet Donald Trump had nothing to do with Trump. He's just a puppet like Biden. But again, they serve this Jesuit cabal, which controls all of Washington, D.C., and most of the world. So, if you missed yesterday's video, I highly recommend you watch it because, again, it's an open and shut case. But I always like to go the extra mile, and I want to prove it all the further. So, the current prime minister or president of Iran is Hassan Rouhani, who I talk about in the first book I wrote, that it's very clear that he's a puppet of the cabal. I show how things are done in Iran the same as they are over the rest of the Western Jesuit-controlled world. But notice his birthday and his age. You know what's funny about his birthday and age, November 12th, 1948? That's the exact same day that Arturo Sosa was born, November 12th, 1948, who's the current leader of the Jesuits, the superior general. And remember, the Jesuits consider themselves a military order, having influence over 112 militaries of the world. But notice, from his birthday to the time of the airstrike in Syria and in Iran, Iran's an hour ahead of Syria. It was about 2 a.m. in Iran when this happened. Because again, they're striking Syria over an Iranian-backed militia, like how about a year ago it was killing an Iranian war general in Iraq. But notice, this happened on his 107th day of his age. Born November 12th, the airstrike his time, February 26th, early hours of the day, the 107th day of his age. And as I wrote about in my first and second book, here's the second book. The reason we invaded Afghanistan after 9/11 on October 7th, 107, is because military equals 107, and that's the day leaving 85 days left in the year. And Templar equals 85. And remember, the Jesuits have the Templar cross in their logo. The Templars and the Jesuits serve the Catholic Church and the Pope. And again, what area of the world are we harassing with our terrorism? Again, the biblical Holy Lands where the Crusades took place. This is history repeating itself by a code. So on the 107th day of Rouhani's age, and again, understand he's just a New World Order puppet too, just like al-Assad in Syria is a New World Order puppet who we talked about last night. But his 107th day of his age, and here's Arturo Sosa, the leader of the Jesuits. Notice, born November 12th, 1948 as well. So that means it was his 107th day of his age. And again, the Jesuits consider themselves a military order. So on his 107th day of his age, this big strike in Syria, it couldn't be any more obvious. But here's what makes it funny. Notice from the Pope's birthday to the day this happened was his 72nd day of his age. Remember, Sosa's 72, and so is Rouhani. They're both 72. And Syria equals 72, just like Jesuit Order 72. And remember, the Jesuit Order was created in Paris, France. Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope, but they were created August 15th, 1534. A date with 72 numerology. That's why the Jesuit puppet Trump, his brother died last year on August 15th. It's also why San Francisco, which is named after St. Francis of Assisi, was set ablaze on August 15th last year. The surrounding areas of San Francisco burned up in unprecedented fires on August 15th. Again, you guys, Weather weapons are an old thing that we've been educating about for a long time. We said the Stanley Cup would be won 44 days by the Lightning after that, and that's exactly what they did, because Lightning's 44 like military. Again, military technology in control of the weather. That's a whole nother topic. But that was a big Jesuit ritual, what they did to the Bay Area, San Francisco, named after St. Francis of Assisi, just like Pope Francis. Anyhow, on the Pope's 72nd day of his age, Syria gets attacked in a Jesuit order ritual with President Biden. Before it was Jesuit President Trump. And again, just to remind how big of puppets these people are, when Trump said he was locked and loaded and ready to go to war with Iran on September 15, 2019, it was exactly 110 days before the airstrike on Soleimani. Locked and loaded 110, airstrike 110, President 110. Again, these are puppets. They're going out before the media. They're reading their scripts, because the world is a stage, and these people have planned out what dates they're going to do their big rituals, whether they blame it on fireworks going off in Beirut or, an airstrike as a show of force in Syria. It's all ritual. It's all Jesuits. Again, some people in the world have this version of the book that's missing the final epilogue, if you will, and that's because I got the book printed at the end of July when I finished writing it. But then the August 4th explosion in Beirut happened. And I was like, I got to get this in there. This is the biggest Jesuit ritual there was this year. So this version of the book that I'm holding has this outro with the explosion in Beirut and how it was synced up with the Pope and the Superior General and Trump. And on Obama's birthday, Barack Obama, like how back in the day there was the barracks bombing in Beirut of the French and U.S. troops, like France and the U.S., like the Jesuit strongholds. The Jesuits created in Paris, France. They've been in D.C. longer than the feds. So, again, in the U.S., you guys, it was February 25th when this happened. Washington, D.C. is 56. Society of Jesus is 56. Pope is 56. If you count from the Pope's birthday, which is December 17th, again, Saturnalia, from his birthday to the day it happened in the U.S., because, again, this is the day it happened in Syria, in Iran, right? It was February 26th, but in the U.S., it was still February 25th. So from the Pope's birthday to what time it was in the U.S. was his 71st day of his age, which also matters. Always talking about 71 in the Catholic Church. Catholic 71, Babylon 71, the Society of Jesus is 71, Whore of Babylon, which is what the Catholic Church is 71, Vatican City 71. Here, let me read the back of my book real quick. There is a code as old as time and as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3 that is being used every single day to contrive the stories that become the news and in turn our collective reality. This book is about that code, known as Gematria, and it has been written for the purpose of shedding light on who is using this knowledge to the detriment of humanity. As you will learn, the same party using the code is the same party that is responsible for the events of September 11, 2001, and the coronavirus pandemic of 2020, and that party is the Catholic Church, or better said, the Whore of Babylon. As you will also learn, the Catholic Church is the same entity that gave the world the Gregorian calendar and the English language, two things that are perfectly in tune with one another thanks to the Jesuit order, who have served Rome since 1540, just before the establishment of the Gregorian calendar and English being standardized as a 26-letter alphabet and not arbitrarily. As you will come to understand, the 26 letters have everything to do with God and playing God. And again, you guys, nobody in the world can debunk a page of what's written in here, and nobody can debunk any of the 10,000, well, it's way more than that now. I mean, I probably made, who knows, at least 12,000 videos. Nobody can debunk any of them. Every day, everything I teach just backs itself up further and further and further. You know, I've been teaching about 71 in the Catholic Church forever. Rambo just called in with his decode this past Wednesday night, even adding more to our knowledge about 71 in the Catholic Church. You know, what happens the next day on Thursday? A prime example of showing how relevant this number is to these rituals. And like I explained in the book, you know, it's not an accident that Whore of Babylon and Catholic and Babylon all have the same gematria. This is who it is, the Whore of Babylon. All this knowledge goes back to Babylon, you guys. Babylon is where Kabbalah comes from. Kabbalah says God created the world with numbers, letters, and words in its book of formation. It's where this whole thing comes from. The Templars brought back the knowledge after the Crusades. The Catholic Church got its hands on it. It spread through European royalty, the continent that the Catholic Church controls. Well, that was back then. Now they control the world. You know, all these Middle East nations. Remember when the Arab League was formed? March 22nd, 322, 1945, right at the end of the World Wars, that are the product of the Jesuits. Again, my next book's going to nail all this. Just show you how every single major event in our modern history that's created the world as we know it, it's all synced up with the Pope and Superior General. The whole history. Undeniably. It's what they've been doing, you guys. Just like this. It's no different. This is no different. This is what they've been doing for centuries. You know, just showed this the other day with the big attack in Switzerland right after September 11th, on the day the Jesuits were recognized by Rome, September 27th, 2001. Synced with the Pope and the Superior General. Remember the death of Joe Biden's wife and daughter right after he became senator-elect, how it's perfectly synced with the Pope and Superior General, also a big 71 ritual. And since Biden is president right now, remember, his electoral college votes were confirmed on January 7th, 7/1. The election was called for him November 7th, 353 days after his birthday, the 71st prime. His wife and daughter died in a car crash, which equals 71, on the 71st day of the Superior General's age at the time. And don't forget, they called him as president-elect on November 7th, just like how he was called senator-elect November 7th, 1972. That year, 72, which was the year his wife and daughter died. And now on the Pope's 72nd day of his age in Syria, they're getting bombed, supposedly on the orders of senile Joe. And again, you guys, the reason this knowledge is so important is not only because it's proof and evidence, but it shows who's responsible, and it should also be able to cut through people's cognitive dissonance about how they're invested in their political parties. Donald Trump was a lifelong Democrat who became a Republican in the time of Obama, and then who followed Obama as Obama joked about 45 days before Trump's birthday that he would be the 45th president at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, as they showed the graphic at the White House, flat screen of the new Trump White House casino, the big joke, all by the numbers. But everyone should be able to see what this puppet show is. Obama was a Jesuit puppet. They're all Jesuit puppets, you guys. I mean, all of them. You just go right on down the line. Jesuits have been in Washington, D.C. longer than the feds. They control the world. Nobody else can make an argument. Look at what all the critics do come here. Saxon idiot, it's not the Jesuits, it's the Jews. That's their argument. I'm an idiot. It's not the Jesuits, it's the Jews. Okay. And again, that's a really dumb, ignorant statement, because who are the Jesuits? Something I explain all the time. Something as I explain in the book. So really, you guys are just coming here and saying absolutely nothing. Realize that's part of what the truth community wants too. They want everyone to blame Jews and believe that the only religion that matters is Jesus. Have you guys noticed that that's how the truth community is in America? Again, that's divisive. The Abrahamic religions are all related and all controlled, and they use the things that they control to divide people. And these same Christians will say Muslims are a fake religion because it's newer than Christianity. But then you go, well, what about Judaism being older than Christianity? But then they have a reason to, dismiss that fact. And again, that just shows you how cognitive dissonance works and how illogical people's minds are and how they make arguments that make no sense because they're hypocritical of what they actually believe. Again, you don't find any of that on my channel. All you find is facts, knowledge, and undeniable information that backs itself up every single day, and a legacy of people who are helping spread the knowledge who've learned from me, and people who are padding their pockets, taking advantage of the rigged game, So anyway, 71, it was the 71st day of the Pope's age in the U.S., the 72nd day of his age in Syria where it happened, and the ritual's clear. It couldn't be any more clear. And don't forget, Vatican City is also 71, and as Rambo pointed out the other night, a good observation that I'd been overlooking, the first bishop of the Catholic Church, considered the first pope in their history, was Peter, whose name is also 71. So thank you, Rambo. And you know what else? Hold on. Is Thursday named after Jupiter, or is it Friday? I always forget. I think it's Thursday. Yeah, Thursday is named after Jupiter, you guys. And Rambo was just making the point about how Peter is Jupiter. Yeah. Yeah, Rambo, you are just dead on the money, my man. So Rambo was just making the point on Wednesday night how Peter is Jupiter and how it comes together through the number 71. So get that. Thursday, which is named after Jupiter, on Pope Francis's 71st day in the U.S., we're attacking that old part of the world, where the Crusades happened. So if you think Rambo's tripping and you think I'm tripping, trust me, it's not us. It's not us. Our points are just getting proved further and further. And also, don't forget that the Romans overtook the Greek Empire, and the Greeks wrote the New Testament and the story of Jesus, and the Greeks worship Zeus. Zeus has that Gematria 71 as well. And with regards to building on the ritual, from the first day that Biden became president, Inauguration Day, January 20th, to this attack in the U.S., where he was 36 days later. The Jesuit acronym IHS and their logo that's the sun. And again, the Catholic Church gave us the calendar that's synced up with the sun, the language that's synced up with the calendar. IHS is 36. So is Syria. And again, this is why you need your base ciphers. How can Syria be 72 and 36? Again, base ciphers taught in chapter 1 with all their relevance in an undeniable fashion. Again, Gematria, the alphabetic order, A is 1 up to Z is 26. That's where Syria is 72. The alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, A is 1 up to Z is 26, but the rules of numerology apply. So 26 is 2 plus 6 is 8. That's why Z is 8. Y is the 25th letter, 2 plus 5 is 7. X is the 24th letter, 2 plus 4 is 6, which means XXX is 666. Think about it. But again, just very simple. Just running the alphabetic order using numerology. J is the 10th letter. The numerology of 10 is 1 plus 0 is 1. That's why J becomes 1. K is the 11th letter. 1 plus 1 is 2. L is the 12th letter. 1 plus 2 is 3. Other cipher, reverse alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. So Z is 1 back to A is 26. And then the reverse alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. So 72nd day of the Pope's age in Syria. 36 days after Biden became president. Par for the course. Things we've been showing with, I've been doing this since the time of Obama was president. I figured this out in 2013. So we're showing how Obama was a puppet by the numbers. We've been showing how Donald Trump puppet by the numbers from the time he announced he was running. And same thing with Joe Biden. So nobody can come here and say, ooh, you're just favoring sides. No, I just expose it all. I just see the whole government's a fraud. Knew that from the time I was a young person. Didn't even need Gematria to know that. But with Gematria, I can really prove what they're doing. Also, with regards to this happening on February 26th, 226 in Syria, like we talked about yesterday, it was the anniversary of the 93 World Trade Center bombing, which just fits in with this whole ongoing narrative. But notice, Qasem Soleimani was the last major U.S. airstrike that got this kind of attention. And Qasem Soleimani's name is 226. Again, all this stuff is connected. And it's 420 days from his killing to what happened in Syria. That's interesting because April 20th, 420 is the 110th day of the year, and airstrikes 110 and presidents 110. And the way they lay out these riddles, I won't be surprised if we get a continuation of this on April 20th. There could be something between now and then, but I will not be surprised if we're reading another big story on 420 in light of the fact that these two things were 420 days apart. And again, April 20th is the 110th day of the year, and airstrikes 110, and that was the big ritual with the Soleimani killing. Okay. So just to revisit what we went over yesterday, just to be redundant, again, it was the 56th day of the year in the U.S., Washington, D.C., and Society of Jesus 56. We originally got into Syria because of ISIS 56, which is a continuation of Al-Qaeda, which was blamed for 9/11. And again, Al-Qaeda is a CIA project. But the last major airstrike in Syria was April 14th, 2018, their time, which was a date with 56 numerology. And it could also be written 14/4, like Jesuit Order 144, like President Biden 144, like how the Jesuit-controlled band Daft Punk did the Around the World song as their breakout song, and it says Around the World 144 times, and in Jewish Gematria times 144, and again, 144 does have everything to do with time. 1,440 minutes in the day. Square root of 144 is 12. 12 hours in the morning and the evening. 12 months in the year. But again, this coming on the anniversary of the 93 World Trade Center bombing. Iranian-backed militia, 93, right? That's what they said they bombed yesterday. We just talked about Daft Punk, that equals 93, and how they started in 1993, and how their band just came to an end after 28 years. And how from the day they put out their final music video to the day of the upcoming lunar eclipse is 93 days later, and that's what the symbolism is in the video, the sun and the moon. Symbolism they've used for their entire career. I've been studying their work more and more, and I'm just mind blown. I'm just like, wow, this is like the most symbolic band I've ever seen. They had the whole world dancing to their music. But, and remember, with regards to this being on the 28-year anniversary of the 93 World Trade Center bombing, don't forget, Daft Punk just broke up after 28 years, after the oldest member just had his birthday on February 8th, 2/8, in the month that has 28 days, February. And on the same day that they announced their breakup with the video, again, silver, the closing price was $28.13 per ounce. Silverman blows up in the video. Okay. So, yeah, and again, in Syria, it was the 57th day of the year. In the U.S., it was the 56th. Georgetown, the Jesuit University in D.C. is 57, 42 in reverse, like Jesuit in Georgetown are 42, like War's 42, like World War's 42, like February's 42, like Iran's 42. And don't forget who carved up all these nations, renamed them. All this stuff was done after the World Wars. And again, it's because these people treat the world like it's a chessboard. You know, they establish nations by the numbers. They put in puppet politicians who have the right numbers so it can all sync up with their planned Kabbalistic rituals. And so many people come here and they watch and they're like, okay, this all seems so mind-blowing, but I still don't get it. Why? And they ask that because they don't have very good listening skills. I already explained it's Kabbalah, and Kabbalah says this is how God operates, so clearly they're playing God. Again, like all of it's explained on the back page of the book, like how it's explained on the first page of both my books. Again, I realize we're dealing with a lot of problems here at this day and age. Most people are chemically poisoned. Their brain is full of all sorts of harmful metals and toxins from the food, from the air, the water. You know, most people haven't taken care of themselves, as well as, say, people like myself who've always eaten well, exercised, you know, made sure I was eating things that flush out toxic metals, keeping fluoride out of my mouth. You know, I realize I have a lot of advantages over most people because I've taken the time to have those advantages, not because there's anything different about me other than I read, research, and think for myself. You know, I took that Timothy Leary quote to heart. Think for yourself, question authority. And somebody will say, well, Timothy Leary was a CIA plant too. Maybe he was. But he did say think for yourself, question authority. And that's what I took from Timothy Leary, along with some psychedelic drugs. And I don't regret doing that either, because I think a lot of people need to do that, because it really can open your mind and help you see things a lot more clearly. Can they be abused? Oh, yeah. Can they be used correctly? Of course. So, and again, just all this stuff's Jesuit. Jesuit Order 54, Tiger Woods 54, the man who wears the Jesuit colors every Sunday on the 54th day of the year, supposedly in a car crash that's all synced up with Jesuit-run Tesla Motors, because Miss Woods is donating this huge investment to the car company that wants to make futuristic, self-driving cars that are way safer than humans. I mean, all this stuff is Jesuit mockery, you guys. Again, laid it all out crystal clear. The Jesuit Order are the mind controllers. They do it with the government, with the media, with the school, with the celebrity. They got it all down by a code. Every single day, a very repetitive code. And again, I mean, he hurts his legs, and on the same day, Ashley Judd hurts her legs in the Congo, and Congo's 54 as well. It's like, come on, man. On the 54th day of the year. So with regards to Jesuit Joe from Jesuit Scranton, Pennsylvania, again, from his 78th birthday, Jesuit 78, Order Out of Chaos 78, but from his birthday to the attack, because he was in the U.S. 97 days after his birthday, which is the 25th prime number, and it was on the 25th, and Biden's 25, and death is 97 and 25. And again, just one more time, like we covered last night, the only other Catholic president, Kennedy, his family had the big 97-25 tragedy. Their bodies recovered on April 6th. Maud Kennedy and her son after the canoe accident. Biden would become President 46, 211 days later, the 47th prime, President 47 after 47 years in D.C. But Maud Catholic sacrificed all 46. That was the 97th day of the leap year. They said it was a canoe accident. And again, they said the bodies were found in 25 feet of water, 2.5 miles from where they disappeared in Shadyside, Maryland. 97, 25, canoe and death, the exact same in all 4 base ciphers. With regards to the 38 piece, this is what I missed yesterday. From the day that Biden became president to the day of the death and destruction in Syria, February 26th, you could also say that was his 38th day of being president in terms of the way Syria is counting. So it was 36 days after in the U.S. You could also say it was his 37th day of his age. And now that I say that out loud, it makes sense to me. Joe Biden's 37 in the most Pierce cipher. So again, in the U.S., it was 36 days after it was 36 days after Inauguration Day, or it was his 37th day of being president. That's why you always have to pay attention to both counts. Syria's 36, Joe Biden's 37. So 36 days after Inauguration Day, his 37th day of being president. In terms of Syria, though, it was 37 days after he became president, or it was his 38th day of being president. You see the difference? Again, for people who have trouble grasping that, and I know people do, it's actually a really simple concept. January 20th, 2021 was Inauguration Day. The attack in Syria was February 26th. Again, a day ahead of us, which was 37 days after he became president, which means you're not counting January 20th, his first day as president, but if you count that day, then it becomes his 38th day of being president. So, death, 38, right? And again, the 4 base ciphers of death, in those ciphers, it includes 97, 25, and 38. He orders the strike 97 days after his birthday on the 25th, and then it happens in Syria on the 38th day of him being president. I mean, how many times do we have to educate about the same things, right? Sandra Bullock, the star of Murder by Numbers, the movie poster that codes with 3 and 8, Murder 38, also 83, the song Murder by Numbers, about how killing is the sport of the elected, and it's as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3. Again, Sandra Bullock, 83, that song came out in 83, Killing, Death, R.I.P., Gematria, English, Kabbalah, you know who, it's all 38. So, ask yourself how all these truth channels could not want to share this information and help inform their audience about what's going on as we prove it day after day for 7.5 years straight. If they ever open their mouth about this, it's to criticize the work or try to make some point about how they don't like me. And then meanwhile, they're hucking all these products. They got to sell all this stuff, sign up for this that I'm charging for. Meanwhile, their content leads you nowhere. All you're doing is emptying your pockets for their ongoing fear propaganda campaign. Plays right into the main agenda itself. But, yeah. And just to go back down memory lane, again, in my new book, which you do not have to buy from Amazon, but you can come here and read the reviews. It's got 5-star reviews. My book up here, Number Games. Again, the version on here does have the last chapter about the Beirut explosion. The Amazon version does. Everyone's version that's out right now has that. The only people in the world, and sorry to those 1,000 people, it's still, you have everything but the Beirut thing. It's a great book. But there are 1,000 people in the world who have the copy that is missing the Beirut section. So, but anyway, it's in here, and if you guys are one of those people, you can email me. I'm eventually going to do a second edition of this book, and if you're one of those people that has the version without the Beirut section and you want that, you can email me down the road, and I'll just sell you the new book at cost. So anyway, And the reason 1,000 have them is because I got them printed here at the local shop in Yakima, and the Beirut thing hadn't happened yet. So, and as you might recall, it took forever for them to print the books, but they finally did it. So, anyway, Beirut explosion, just to go back to it, it was on August 4th, 8/4, Obama's birthday. Barack barracks, the last time a Beirut explosion was in the news in the U.S. was the Beirut barracks explosion. So on Barack's birthday, it was like, But again, it came on 8/4, and notice how Jesuits 84 and 42 like Beirut. And they blamed it on fireworks, you guys. The biggest Jesuit, the most infamous Jesuit event in history was the Guy Fawkes plot to blow up British Parliament with fireworks. But they blamed sodium nitrate, from the fireworks, which has Gematria 183 like order out of chaos. Also 84 like how it happened on A4. Beirut, Lebanon's also 78 like Jesuit. Again, alphabetic order, forwards and backwards. You got to know your ciphers. At one point, they said at least 78 killed. It was 78 days from Netanyahu's birthday. And remember, all the people in the truth community that say Israel's at the heart of this are people who don't know anything about anything. They are a big fat zero. They are a worthless voice to listen to. They're shills like Adam Green at No Less News. Israel is a part of the ongoing Jesuit agenda. There's no two ways about it. It's not hard to see at all. Again, what day was Israel established? Again, it was a product of the world wars that were done by the Jesuits. Again, look at the Nazis wearing the Jesuit colors. Adolf Hitler dies at 56. Adolf Hitler equals 56 like Society of Jesus, but nobody ever found his body. But anyway, Israel was created on 14/5 after the World Wars. 14/5, again, Catholics 145 in the Catholic Old Testament, which is the Jewish section. There's 145 more chapters than the Protestant Old Testament. And then again, Catholics also 46, and there's 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. And again, remember, JFK, the only president that was Catholic before Biden, he was number 35, killed at age 46. All these rituals, you guys. It's not hard to see who set up Israel by the numbers. The thing that was established centuries before them and that needed the nation of the false ones. Because again, the Catholic Church goes by the New Testament. And what's in the end of the New Testament? The false Jews, the synagogue of Satan who claim to be Jews but are not. Now, if you read the Bible, the description of the Hebrews, the Jews, is much different than the people that we call Jews today. You know, they're missing the dark skin, these ones in Israel. And I know that shill, Jeff Doherty, you know, he also yesterday, he was trying to attack. It was clear he watched my stream yesterday about Pharaoh because he went on about how idiots claim that Jesus had darker skin and hair of wool, even though in Revelation 1:14, again, it clearly uses to describe his hair the word wool. And I always see white people getting real upset about this and saying it means it had nothing to do with wool, but all it's speaking to is the color white. Well, you could describe white a million different ways without saying white like wool. And, you know, Jeff Doherty, he had to search for the verse. He didn't even know off the top of his head. I'm sorry, I'm not a Bible scholar, but I know that verse off the top of my head. Jeff Doherty claims to have gone to Bible school for 20 years, so I don't know why he had so much trouble recovering it. But anyway, the hair on his head was white like wool. Okay. The hair on his head was white like wool, but you're going to say and again, white people do this all the time. I think so many white people, and again, I don't even know that Jesus is a real person, but the point is that this story is about a man who was not white, okay? He's described in another part with his skin tone. You know, the hair on his head was white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were like blazing fire. White like wool. They could have said white like the clouds, white like milk, you know, white like things that are white. But it says white like wool. And it's describing his hair, and we all know who has hair like wool. You know? Do we say a black person's hair is wool, or do we say it looks like wool? I almost feel like telling you guys a joke that some people may or may not find funny. It's not really a joke, but I'm just going to tell it to you, man. And, okay. When Sweet Lady and I, every time she says the same thing, like it just comes to our mind when we're driving from where we are, and we're for people who think of Washington and Oregon is like this green, lush place, it's true. On the west side of the state, west of the mountains, it's just green and lush and beautiful. But when you get east of the mountains, which is actually the majority of Oregon and Washington, it's just desert. Looks like Arizona, It's just desert, tumbleweed everywhere. And every time we drive through the desert part, sweet lady will look out and she'll be like, look at all the plant life over the desert. Doesn't it remind you of black people's hair? And I always laugh. And I say, yeah, it does kind of look like that. And honestly, man, to me, it just always, black people, it's obvious that they're the original people. It's obvious that they're the original people. They're better equipped for this world. Their skin's made for this world. We know white people's skin is not made for this world. Go down to Arizona and look at all the like, maybe David Icke's reptile theory came from visiting Arizona, because all the white people there look like lizards. Their skin's all dried over. They look like they're ready to be made into a jacket. Some of them are just like burnt bright red. It looks like their skin's about to, I don't know, they look like they went to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and ate the wrong thing. But, yeah, the black people look like they come right from the earth. They're better equipped for the sun. The original people in the Bible are obviously people of a darker complexion. You have the story about the albino child that weirds out Methuselah. So I don't know why so many people are hell-bent on saying that this verse has nothing to do with Jesus being black and his hair being like wool. Okay. The hair on his head was white like wool. Just say it over and over again. The hair on his head was white like wool. No, but the like wool part doesn't matter. It's only just describing the color of his hair. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Maybe it's because you have this belief that you just need Jesus to be white because you've been indoctrinated and programmed your whole life by all these things from the authority to believe that people of darker complexions are lesser people. Because, again, that is a real agenda. That's been going on the whole time. And for all the black people who got mad the other night at me because I said, black mainstream culture is toxic, again, that wasn't a slight at black people. That was a slight at black mainstream culture, which is pushed by this same mainstream and tries to tell black people that what they need to do is, just be into all these bad things that aren't good for them. So, anyway. Netanyahu, Israeli puppet, Jesuit puppet, last attack perfectly synced with his birthday. And, Beirut's got those coordinates. And the date this happened, August 4th in 2020, was the leap year, so it was the 217th day of the year. Horror Babylon also 217 as well as 71. Catholic 7135. It was on the day leaving 149 days left in the year, which is the 35th prime number. In Revelation, it's explained about the Horror Babylon. Revelation 149. You see how it all comes together? Again, it's very clear who coded out the language, who's responsible for the translations of the Bible as we know it. They're putting all the truth in there about them, but they're expecting people not to see that they are the Horror Babylon. It's mockery. It's just like what they do every day with the news. Put the truth in front of our face and expect us not to see it, but instead submit to them and follow what they tell us to think and do. So from the Pope's birthday to that attack was exactly 33 weeks, but it was also 231 days, which is the 21st triangular number. Jesuits 21. Here we are in 2021, which I said would be a year full of war rituals synced up with the Jesuits. Again, you guys, we're on the verge of some really bad stuff, and that's why I get on here and do this every single day. Not so I can say, see? It's not just about going, see, I'm right again. See, I'm right again. See, it's the number. It's about saying, can you fucking idiots see what I'm showing you about where we're going? Can you guys see that 5 years ago I told you if we don't wake the fuck up by 2020, it's going to be really bad times and the next 9/11 will be upon us? Can you see that I was right about that? Can you see that shit's getting really bad? Can you see that I'm right about how they're operating and who's in control and who needs to be stopped? Seems that most of you just don't care enough to want to do anything. You can't donate $1 a month to help us get up the funds, to hire a team of people and organize a network and do everything we need to achieve right now at this critical moment. Most of you don't have $1 a month, which means you don't think this work's worth 3 cents a day. 3 cents. 3. Most people don't think this work's worth 3 cents a day to help us raise the funds to really get the word out. I got all these people in my ear. Zach, you need to be putting up billboards with the money that's coming in. Do you know how expensive billboards are? Is that going to do it? If I put up all the money, I couldn't even afford one billboard a month in like a decent sized city with the money that comes in right now. You think that's going to change the world? I should just put all the money into one billboard in Seattle? You think that's going to change anything? No. We need more funds. We need more resources. I mean, It's just so frustrating, you guys. It's so frustrating. I don't know how anybody in the world could not trust me, honestly. I've been here for 7.5 years straight, every single day, proving the point, being right about damn near everything. I see this active troll and shill. He's got 6 things I've been wrong about over the whole time that he's spamming everywhere. Message me so I can share the video with the 6 things that Zach got wrong. Dude, in the last month, I have how many things right? 20? Huge things, too, like when the blackout was going to happen on Valentine's Day. I mean, you guys are a joke that are trying to work against me. And I know who's trying to work against me, the same goons that are part of this network, the same Jesuit piece of shit shills, the same pawns that don't realize that's who controls them. Just people that get a check to go out there and put out false information and mislead people. They don't even realize who they serve. They serve dollar bills. It's all they care about. How many dollar bills are in their pocket. And for all of you who think I care about how many dollar bills in my pocket, you're dead wrong. Again, you're new here. You weren't here the first 5 years where I didn't raise a single penny, and all I did was had my business destroyed, my house burglarized, vandalism countless times, all this shit. Paid for it all out of my own pocket, and still grinded every day and got the word out. And then finally, I did. I didn't have any money. I did it for 5 years. And I would have had a lot more. I would have had a lot more money if I didn't have my business sabotaged, house burglarized, everything stolen, safe walked away with, full of money. So had to hustle and grind to stay up to even do it for 5 years. But at 5 years, I said, you know what? It's time for you guys to support. How about pitching in $1 a month? Thank you to everyone who does. It has allowed me to continue on, but still, we don't have the resources to have a meaningful impact in terms of going out and advertising and hiring a team of people. No, we're nowhere near it. So, and again, you guys, I mean, if you can't understand why I'm trying to make things happen, then you're just a loser, period. You're just a loser and not part of any solution, and you're too dumb to see who the hardest working person is in the world right now with the most important knowledge and information. I don't know why you guys get so butthurt about that either. Show me anyone in the world who's got more important knowledge and information about what's going on, who's responsible, how they're operating, and how you can get ahead of what their next move is. Tell me who that is. All of you just call names, make fun of my statements, but you can't come up with an alternative. You can't counter what I'm actually saying. You can't think of anyone who has a more important message. Some people will come and write things like Jonathan Kleck. That's a joke, you guys. Jonathan Kleck's the master of false predictions, okay? That's a joke. That is a joke. Some of you guys are delusional and you put out these names that are just people who are just doing shit work. People who can't see the forest for the trees. People who fall behind fake religion and fake politics. If you think that's equivalent to what I'm doing, you're a joke, okay? No one in the world has a message 1/10 as important as what I'm putting out. Not even 1/100th, not even 1/1000th, not even 1/1,000,000th. These are facts. No one is doing anything that's helpful. This whole truth community thought Trump was going to win. This whole truth community thought Trump was the savior and the hero. That means they're a pack of idiots, morons, or shills. It's one of those 3 things. Showed you from day one. All these people are puppets controlled by the cabal. And it is true that in 2020, I wasn't sure if the Jesuits were the tip of the spear. I always knew they were there, just like if you've read either of my books, or just like if you follow my blog to the beginning. I've always had the Jesuits in the usual suspect mix, but in 2020, it became crystal clear that it is them. And really, in hindsight, I should have seen before that. But again, it's them. You could not prove otherwise. No one else is going to come up with a stronger argument for that. It's this group over here instead. No, it's not. Sorry. Every single ritual synced up with the Pope and the Superior General. Every last one. You can prove it all day. That's who the boss is. And if anyone else is more boss, it's the black nobility behind them, the Orsinis and these other people that have all this influence in the church, whose names are forgotten to most people. But again, coming back to Beirut, it was 52 days after Trump's birthday, and fireworks is 52, what they blamed it on. Pope is 52, President's 52. I mean, let's just go over the 52 words. Pope 52, President 52, Government 52, Authority 52, White House 52, the Cabal 52, Kabbalah 52, Oh yeah, the 52-week calendar given to us by by the Catholic Church, Earth 52, NWO, the acronym for New World Order 52. the death of Barbara Bush and the big 52 ritual on 17/4, like New World Order's 174. Again, George H.W. Bush was Mr. New World Order. He just couldn't keep that phrase out of his mouth. He was part of Skull and Bones, which is named after the Knights Templar, who also served the Catholic Church. And again, their logo's in the Jesuit logo. But again, 52 days after Puppet Trump's birthday, it was 1 month and 22 days as well. I mean, you just couldn't get any more Pope Francis. Pope Francis 122. Remember the Jesuit motto, "E Sus Hominum Salvator." 122, also 266, like Pope Francis is the 266th Pope, which is why he spoke next to Obama on the 266th day of the year on September 23rd, 2015, and that date can be written 23/9, like 239 the 52nd prime, like how we called Super Bowl 52 dead on, months in advance, Patriots versus Eagles, because Trump took on the flag protesters on 23/9, and the flag was sewn in Philly at 239 Arch Street. Trump's birthday is the flag. So this was from the U.S. flag's birthday as well, to August 4th was this ritual. And notice fireworks is 56, right? Like how Guy Fawkes' plot to blow up British Parliament was November 5th, the day leaving 56 days left in the year. Now we get a big explosion ritual in Syria on the 56th day of the year in the U.S., February 25th. And remember, 225 also has to do with the Great Tribulation. Again, it's all in the book, you guys. Because these people are bringing about their contrived biblical prophecy. You know, still the sheep in my community, they still think the Bible was written by somebody other than man. And it's clear as day, the Bible's their script. The scripture is the script. Again, the Bible's here to fill people's heads with illogical, nonsensical thoughts from the authority, to keep you in a slave state, to keep you in a lower vibration, to keep you, believing in things that aren't true. Just like what government does, just like what the news media does. It's all the same. People of higher intelligence see through this crystal clear. People of higher intelligence look at the truth community and go, man, it's amazing how many people sort of get it, but they're still stuck up on their bullshit religion. Yeah, it's amazing how many people still are waiting for the man in the sky to come save them. Man in the sky would have to be, and again, people get butthurt about this. Johnny Cerrucci got all butthurt about this, but the man in the sky would have to be an asshole. The man in the sky would have to be a big old asshole to just sit by and let the evil reign that does reign on this earth right now. He'd have to be a big old asshole, period. End of discussion. I'd love to see the millions upon millions of people who died and went to their grave, who were just waiting for the man in the sky to come save them, who never lifted a finger in their lifetime, who thought all they had to do was believe in the book given to them by the authority. That's all they thought they had to do, was just sit there and just believe with all their ego that their religion's the most right, the most correct, even though there's zero evidence to support anything in their religious book. Zero, a big fat zero. And I know that my haters will get so mad about all this. Oh, Zach's promoting himself and saying his stuff's so great while the Bible's so nothing. I didn't say the Bible's so nothing. Without the Bible, I would have never figured this out. Again, the Bible's their playbook. They put their numbers in the book in ritualistic ways, the same way they put in their news. So I'm grateful for the Bible. I'm grateful they put it out there, allow me to figure out the code and who's operating and who's in control and how they're playing us all for fools. Could have never done it without the Bible. Does that mean I'm under its mind control, falling for its nonsense? The book that says it's okay for people to be slaves, it's okay to beat your slaves. Wow, what an inspired word of God. It's okay to have slaves and beat them. Tell you what, in the Fallout world, I'm going to go recruit you Christians to work my plantation. I'm going to beat the shit out of you too and tell you to read your Bible and shut the fuck up. Remember what you believed in? Slave? Read it again. I'll put the verse in big print with a highlighter over it. I'll do it out of spite because I'll know why we're in Shitville. Because it was a people like you who couldn't see the forest for the trees and fought with me all day, the person who was right about every goddamn thing there was from the time of 9/11 on, man. And don't overlook the 119 either. Like September 11th. They probably had a pack of TNT strapped to the base of the building. That TNT firework brand for the final joke. Biggest joke there ever was, 9/11. Biggest flock of sheep ever fell for it. Bunch of Bible thumpers. Every last Bible thumper fell for it. Every last Bible thumper was on the George W. Bush wagon. Loving how he waged his crusades and talked about being a Christian crusader. All sick, also transparent. And, oh, yeah. By the way, it was a fireworks warehouse, which equals 239 the 52nd prime. Like fireworks is 52. Like it was 52 days after Jesuit puppet Trump's birthday in 2020, which was 56 years after his Jesuit education began at Fordham. And, oh, yeah, the former prime minister who just left that year, Saad Hariri, 52. And guess where he went to school? Oh, yeah, he went to Jesuit Georgetown. That's where he went. And from his birthday to the day it happened was 109 days later. His name, 109. Military is also 109. Again, that's why you got to know your ciphers, forwards and backwards. Military, 107, 109. And what else was it? The date of the barracks bombing in 1983 was a date with 54 numerology, Jesuit Order 54. Again, this was on Obama's 59th birthday, the man who stood next to Francis by the numbers, September 23rd, 2015. On his 59th birthday, this happened. Pope Francis, 59. Remember, 1 week after his birthday was August 11th. That was the day that Kamala Harris became the VP nominee for the 59th presidential election, synced up with Pope Francis. And that was 59 weeks from the first Democratic debate, and it was a date with 59 numerology. Obama's Secret Service name, Renegades 59, like Negro, Slave, Blues, Rasta. Motown in 59. Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. President Obama, 83. The barracks bombing was in 83. See the mockery? 75 injuries. Catholic Church, 75. New World Order, 75. All jokes. And, again, just the way the explosion and birthday go together. Since this was Obama's birthday, that date could also be written 4/8, like 48. Obama and Jewish Gematria, 84. Beirut, Lebanon, and the English extended cipher, 804. From Michelle's 56th birthday to the day that happened was 201 days. And notice Beirut explosion's 201, like the Jesuit order's 201. And notice Beirut explosion has the 78 and 84 as well. But don't forget that, Obama, it happened a number of times where he referred to her as Michael, which is really weird. And I forget, is she taller than Barack? They're close to the same size. But, again, it's possible he could just accidentally call her Michael, but it does seem weird. It's not like I ever accidentally call May. Sweet Lady's May. Her birth name's Doibu. But it's not like I ever accidentally call it. Is there a name that's similar to May? I guess Mike would be similar. It's not like I ever accidentally call May Mike. Hey, Mike. Oh, I mean May. I mean, that just doesn't happen. I suppose Michelle and Michael are closer, but still, I mean, it just seems weird to call your wife a man's name. And to do it multiple times as he did. So, Michael's also a name from Revelation, leader of the armies of heaven. Michael's also 33, like how it was 33 weeks after the Pope's birthday. But just the phrase Lebanese capital rocked by a huge explosion. Lebanese has that Gematria 153, like Jesuit order, like Holy Bible. And remember, who assigned all these names? Again, the Catholic Church gave us the calendar, the language, assigned the names, helped write up the new boundaries for these new nations created out of the world wars. So, it's all by design. It's all by design. It's all biblical. And let me just make sure I got everything else here. This article said it was ammonium nitrate, which has the Gematria 69 and 93, and just always that 93 number connected to Saturn. Saturn's connected to death and judgment. 93 is also connected to the sun, the Catholic Church, the Jesuits, the solar cult. 69 goes with false flag, the Jesuit order, Catholic Church, New World Order. They're all 69. And yeah, there's a lot more things here. You know what? I'm just going to skim over some of this. If you guys want to know more about this, it's the last chapter of this book, And if you don't have that chapter in your book, again, I apologize, you guys. In that case, you can just come read my blogs. All the information is here. But like I said, if you're one of those people, in a way, it's kind of cool that you have that book because not many people have that edition. So I guess that's the special thing about having the book without the Beirut chapter, if you want to put a silver lining on it. But again, like I said, when I do the second edition, which there will be one, there's a few grammar errors here and there in the book, and I will fix those things, and I'll also tuck in. And again, the few grammar errors are very minor. You might not even notice them when you read the book, but I'll fix those things, and I will tuck in some of the additional stuff that's happened since I finished that book at the end of July, beginning of August. Okay. Oh, yeah. And then they went up to 135 people had died, which is an interesting number because Central Intelligence Agency's 135. It's also a biblical number connected to Philadelphia, but the day of the Beirut barracks bombing was a date with 135 numerology as well. And from the day it happened to the Pope's upcoming 84th birthday, because this happened on 8/4, was 135 days as well. And the head of the CIA at the time was Gina Sherry Haspel, whose name's also 135. Her swearing in or her testimony with Congress, if I remember right, started on May 13th, 13/5, before she became the CIA head. That was under Trump. But yeah, just everything they report, you guys, it's all ritual. I'm sure way more people died than this. I mean, if you saw the explosion in Beirut, it was massive. I mean, a lot of stuff got... It's just... The numbers they give us are fake, you guys. I have this longer write-up here on this. I wrote this before I wrote the chapter on the book. It was kind of like a warm-up before I wrote the chapter. Oh, yeah. And the Superior General of the Jesuits, Arturo Sosa, from his birthday, November 12th, he was 71 at the time. From his birthday to the day this happened on August 4th was 266 days, like how it's in the time of the 266th Pope, and Jesus Hominum Salvator's 266. And it was also 38 weeks, like death's 38. Again, you just look at these big Jesuit puppets out here. Trump, Biden, the Superior General, the Pope, how it all comes together so perfectly. And then Lebanon began rioting because they thought they were lied to about the explosion on August 8th, 8/8/2020, which was a date with 56 numerology. Fireworks 56. Now Syria gets blasted on the 56th day of the year. So... And again, I just want to remind all of you who don't support that there is a powerful network of people that work against me. And, this website is just a fraud scumbag website, right? And one of the biggest posts on this entire website, I mean, my post is literally one of the biggest posts on here. Like it seems that I'm their focus. But every day they're updating this website, putting in all this BS, and trying to make me look bad. And just, I mean, listen to... Again, you have to realize there's people who are working very hard to try to make me look bad. It's why so many videos are uploaded lying about me. It's why people will take... You have to realize there's people that watch every video I put out, download every video, archive every video, and they'll never bring any attention to anything good that I do, but they're just waiting. They're waiting for me to be wrong about things so desperately. They want me to be wrong, and then they archive that, and then they cut like a section out of a 30-second video that's full of probably 2 hours of truth, but then that one thing that I was mistaken about, then they put that in a compilation video, right? Oh, look, Zach was wrong about that. It's like, okay, how many things was I right about since that one thing you have to go back to? But again, you guys, all of you who are not supporting, realize there are major interests invested in working against me and diminishing me. I mean... Again, you guys might think it's crazy, but you just don't know what would have happened, but realize my work was really starting to take off at the time the flat earth theory came here, which was horrible for the truth community. And again, work was really starting to take off, and then all of a sudden there's this, after rebuilding, after getting deleted, then all of a sudden QAnon's here to discredit us even more, and now I'm being accused of being QAnon. Again, had the entire truth community gotten behind my work in 2013, 14, 15, and started putting that out there, imagine where we'd be. Imagine if everybody was united behind this knowledge, pointing to who's responsible, how they're operating, how we got to stop trusting the political parties, how we got to see who's really responsible, how we have to just stop blaming just Jews, like all Jews are responsible, and realize it's not all Jesuits either. There's plenty of people that have a Jesuit education that have nothing to do with this, but it is the Jesuits in high places who pulled the strings. Universities like Fordham, Georgetown, people from higher-ups at these schools are responsible. The Gavin Newsom types, the Cuomo types, the Trump types, the Anthony Fauci types. That's not everybody. But websites like this, I mean, can you believe that this is written about me? It's funny, they had my full birthday up here. I wonder why they took down part of it. I, I'm sure they'll end up putting it back up. Zachary K. Hubbard is an American paranoid, science-denying conspiracy theorist. Now, does that sound like a true statement? Am I a paranoid person? No. I'm someone who gets harassed and goes on anyway and just acts like, even though I am threatened, I'm just going to live my life. I'm not going to act like a paranoid person. So that's a totally false statement. Am I science denying? Not at all. I was a straight A student in science. My science teachers loved me growing up. I knew after 9/11 that America had failed at science because 9/11 was scientifically impossible. Now I'm a science denying American because I know that. See, and what's sad is I guess I can't even defend myself because then I'll get taken down for violating Switzerland's health policies. You know? I just know that the way to stay healthy is to take care of yourself, eat right, get enough sleep, exercise. If anything I'm not doing right now is getting enough sleep, but I think the other things compensate. But, recently I made the point that in the entire time of the supposed pandemic, I haven't been wearing a mask, I haven't been social distancing, I haven't been following any of the rules, and I haven't been sick at all. And I haven't lived in fear at all. I haven't been paranoid at all that I'm going to get sick. And I guess that's what makes me a science denier, because the new science, this new, pseudoscience, I like to call it pseudoscience, but whatever, pseudoscience, this new pseudoscience says that chain link fences keep out mosquitoes, and big porous cloth masks keep out microscopic bacteria. Yeah, I guess I'm a science denier. Maybe it's more like it should say, Zachary K. Hubbard is an American truth seeker and speaker who knows a thing or two about science and doesn't fall for mainstream pseudoscience, from 9/11 to coronavirus. You know what I mean? That's what it should say. But then it goes on, conspiracy theorists. Am I a conspiracy theorist? Or I guess my work is theories in the same way that gravity's a theory, right? Because gravity, some people will say it's not proven, but most people would say, yeah, gravity's proven. Okay, but again, my work is very proven. You know how that's true? Because we have more correct predictions than anyone who has ever walked the face of this earth. And when I say we, I mean me. And this community's also been adding on, because there's other people in this community who've learned this knowledge, and they're making correct predictions. So the we is true too. But again, nobody else has predicted more about the future correctly, from sports to news stories to celebrity death. Nobody's figured out the code and how these people work like clockwork. No one. No one. That is a fact. If you don't like that, you don't like facts. You don't like truth. You're jealous. You're bitter. You're a hater. You're too weak to get behind one of the most important leaders on this planet. And yes, that is me. Have you ever seen anyone in your life work 7.5 years straight for you? Because even if you hate me, I've been working for you. I've been working for humanity. How long did Jesus' ministry last? All of you guys who are so hung up on Jesus, who doesn't do shit for you. And I'm serious when I say that. Jesus doesn't do shit for you. He doesn't do anything for you because he's likely a fictional character in a book. Is Jesus coming down and exposing the blast in Syria today? How did he do it yesterday? No? Oh, he didn't? Did he do anything at all in any point in history? Is there any proof outside of this storybook? No? Does he have a lot of people on their knees waiting for him to come? Yeah. Is that good for humanity? No. Jesus' ministry, even if he was real, lasted 3 years. Mine's lasted 7.5, over twice as long. Okay? These are facts. Don't get butthurt because you're caught up in mind control that offends you so much. And all you religious people, you're no different than the people who believe in the religion of coronavirus or 9/11. They get all butthurt and upset and dismiss people right away because somebody has different information to say than what they believe in. And I don't believe in anything. I think. I speak facts, truth, put out real knowledge. I don't believe in fairy tale religion. I'm not on my knees, hands folded, praying to an Egyptian god, saying words that I don't even know what they mean. Amen is the name of an Egyptian god. Where does that story fit in with Jesus? Almost all of you end your prayers with amen. Word that equals 33 like Bible. Also like people, like person. Again, there's a reason for all this stuff. It goes back to the 33 vertebrae in the human spine, but all this is occult knowledge and occult beliefs and stuff you don't even understand, but you just follow it because it was taught to you as a child. You're under mind control. You were mind controlled as a child. You can't break your mind control. You can't break your belief in religion. You can't break your belief in government. You can't break your beliefs. Your beliefs own and operate your mind, and none of them are helping you out. None. Your religion's not helping you. Your government's not helping you. No, they're just enslaving you. They're just owning you. And you think you're holier than thou because your mind's taken by an evil cabal. But again, let's just read this shit. Zachary K. Hubbard is an American paranoid, science-denying conspiracy theorist, blogger, YouTuber, and crank. Essentially, he believes, no, I don't believe, I prove, that the entire world is fake. Oh, have I ever made that claim that the entire world is fake? Does that seem like a true statement? No, I say what's given to us through the mainstream is contrived by a code that's used to steer the populations of the world. And I don't say that everything they do is fake. I say it's contrived. Some stuff is deliberately fake. The Tiger Woods car crash, I guarantee you that's fake. I guarantee you that is fake. The airstrike in Syria, that's probably not fake. It could be, though. Wag the Dog's a movie that mocks us, too. They do fake military events too, just to provoke people. I mean, look how the American Civil War started. Supposedly a battle where no one was killed except for a horse. Does that make any sense? The only casualty of the first battle that set off the country that divided the nation was the only casualty was a horse, huh? But you see what they did with that story is they got it out there in their means of spreading information at the time. Papers. Pick your side. Pick your side. This battle just went down at Fort Sumter. The horse died. Whose side are you going to get on? Believes that the entire world is fake. So again, just nothing true here, right? And again, this is all my critics can do is they can slander, lie, and try to build up a compilation of things I've been wrong about over the course of 7.5 years as someone who's put out. I mean, can you guys imagine how many hours of video footage there is of me? I've made 12,000 videos, easily, at least, And a lot of those videos are an hour long, I probably have at least 10,000 hours of video out there. Have I been wrong about some things? Yeah, absolutely. Have I been right about a lot of things? Yeah, way more than I've been wrong about. And the whole point is the main theme of my work is dead on. The main point that I've been trying to make is that these people work by this code, who's responsible, how you can see through it. That I've been 100% right about. But then they say, entire world is fake or scripted, as he prefers to say, being run by and again, it's not the entire world, it's what they give to us in the media. Being run by a hidden force of evil Jesuits, the NWO, the Illuminati, powers that be, etc., who control elections, terrorist attacks, the weather, natural disasters, sporting events, and celebrity politician deaths by sacrificing them by the numbers on a nearly daily basis for no apparent reason. For no apparent reason? Never said that. But, do we not prove our point? I mean, again, just had Valentine's Day circled weeks in advance for a blackout. Tell me how that went. Been saying that they're going to use weather warfare to take down the power grid in winter and put people in a bad spot. Dead on. Told people months in advance for pretty much all of 2020. Even wrote a chapter in the book about it. I didn't make the Valentine's Day prediction in the book. I wasn't that mapped out yet. But again, we said that this would happen in the winter, that they're telling us you better be prepared. You better have your propane stove, ways to stay warm in case it happens in your city, in case they do it to all of us. And I bet you in the future they do it to all of us. This time it was a handful of cities across the nation, especially Houston, got it the worst. But again, had you taken my advice and knowledge, you would have been prepared for Valentine's Day, and you wouldn't have been suffering as much. So this website's trying to diminish what I'm doing, which is correct. And realize this is how all the trolls and shills are too. They all do the same thing. So do they control elections? Did I prove that? Did I call the election correctly? Yes, I did. People keep wanting to say that I didn't say Trump would become president in 2016. Those people are just blatant liars. It was the first prediction I had, and the video's still up. We can go back and watch it again. Go to the current GematriaEffectNews channel, sort by oldest. I re-uploaded it as the first video of that channel. That video is from February 2016. Why Trump would become the president because he was the perfect person for the ongoing divide and conquer agenda. Did I come off that at the end of the year because of the whole pussy grabber thing? I did. I thought I was wrong. That was the mistake. But still, all year we showed how the numbers lined up for Trump to be president, which was correct. The first thought was correct. Okay? Did we ever come off Biden? No, we did not. We said it was going to be Biden all year. Getting older and wiser. But So again, and we're proving by the same code that it's the Jesuits year after year. It was a Jesuit code with Trump. It's a Jesuit code with Biden. So who controls elections? Terrorist attacks, okay. Proving that again today, every day. The weather, okay. How many more things do we need to predict correctly? Did I not call every hurricane months in advance in 2020? Yes, I did. Why is that not in here? Why are we making fun of this? Had I not already done this year after year after year? I mean, 2020 was the most convincing year, but I'd been documenting the 50 thing for how many straight years? 52 thing? My first book has a huge chapter on weather warfare in 52. Vice News wrote an article about me, which was correct. Weather warfare showed why the Houston Astros would win the World Series over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dead on. I mean, I don't know how this can be. I don't know how somebody can be writing a sentence like this and making fun of what I'm doing when it's all correct. Do the people from Rationale Wiki want to contact me? Number games at G. Do that. Rationale Wiki people, since you watch every video, contact me, numbergamesbook@gmail.com, and let's set up a debate. The writers of the Rationale Wiki, who have all this shit written about me, all this shit trying to make me look bad, who wrote all this shit, let's debate. Let's see who wins the debate. Let's see who looks like the crank. Let's see who looks like the loser. Guarantee it'll be you. Guaranteed. And I know you pussies that watch my video right now and are probably ready to update your post. I guarantee you fucking pussies will not write that email, and you'll never challenge because you'll know you get smoked. That's why your job is to troll my Patreon page all day. They get into how people shouldn't be supporting my Patreon and all this shit. They're the same trolls that are on my Patreon, this same network. I guarantee you fucking losers will never debate. You'll just stick to your tactics, trying to cherry pick to make me look bad, lurking behind your anonymous accounts, trolling because you're fucking pussies, you're fucking rejects, you'd get owned, you have no balls, and you'd have no chance on the same court with me. And you know what? Afterwards, we can play some basketball and I'll smoke you there too. You want to make me look like a nerd? I'll show you I'm no nerd. Beat you on any sports platform, beat you on any debate stage, show you just how well-rounded I am. Yeah, then we can go out to the club and we can see who picks up the ladies. But we're gonna have to rewind in time because I got a sweet lady. I'm not gonna do that. But that's the real problem with all my haters. You're just jealous. You're just jealous. I'm sorry. God bless me. It is true. I can understand why some ugly, sorry-ass, little dick, ballless loser looks at me through a computer screen and gets jealous. I'm prettier than you. I'm smarter than you. I got more facts than you. And I don't mean to be like this, but I know what the reality is. I know why so many people are so sore and butthurt. You don't have half the game I do. You don't have anything. You're a fucking loser and a reject. And honestly, that's why sometimes I think I should just fold it up, because there's so few people in this world who are supporting, who can pledge $1. I just sit back and I say, you know what? I live in a fucking world who are mostly like Rationale Wiki. A bunch of sorry-ass fucking losers who can't admit they're wrong, who can't help out the person who works for them every day. I live in a society of fucking rejects. But I won't quit. Don't worry, you guys. For the 5,000 of you who do pledge $1 or more a month, I'm very grateful for, and I'll be back here every day for you and all for the unborn generations of children and all the little kids growing up in the bullshit-ass world. And I feel bad right now also about Bryson Bell, who's working his ass off on YouTube to get the information out and who's only 16 years old, which reminds me that he was about 8.5 years old when I started, growing up in this unfair world and not seeing how shitty it was. You know? And that's what I've been thinking about the whole time. Ever since 9/11, I wasn't even that old myself. I was like, what kind of world are people about to grow up in? This shit's about to get a lot worse. I saw it all on 9/11. It was just crystal clear. And realized the people who behind all this stuff, fucking losers, man. Bitter, sorry-ass fucking people. But here, let's continue to read this shit. So, essentially, he believes the entire world is fake, false, or scripted, as he prefers to say. Yeah, it's a good way to put it. Or being run by a hidden force of evil Jesuits, the NWO, the Illuminati, powers that be, etc., who control elections, terrorist attacks, the weather, natural disasters, sporting events. Hey, tell me, did we just go 13-0 in the playoffs and call the Super Bowl before the season began? Yes, we did. Okay. Did we put out a few other futures along the way in case our top pick, which we talked about all year, was the best scenario? Did we put out a few other futures? See, this is what the trolls like to do, because other people called in and said, well, what if it's that? What if it's not that? What other scenarios could it be? And we thought about it and we said, well, if it's not Bucks and Chiefs, the Chiefs are probably going to be there, so it could be something else with the Chiefs. Could be like a team like maybe they'd play the Seahawks. maybe even the Cowboys at the start of the year. But again, we stuck with Bucks Chiefs as the top narrative. Again, if you put down 3 futures for the Chiefs versus any of those 3 teams and you hit on one, you're way off in the money. You made a ton of money. And that's called just playing it smart and having some insurance picks. And again, our next biggest thought, you guys, if it wasn't Bucks Chiefs before the season began, was that it would be Chiefs and Seahawks because of the connection with Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson. And who did they keep showing during Super Bowl 55? Who was at the game with Sierra? Russell Wilson. So again, there's layers to this. There's things you have to understand. But that's what the trolls will do. They'll put up a video and say, Zach's a liar. Here, I have this 10-second clip of him saying the Super Bowl could be the Chiefs and the Seahawks. Yeah, that is true. We did say that in a 4-hour live stream as a secondary possibility if it's not Bucks Chiefs. But still, the whole time we explained why Bucks Chiefs was the top scenario. And that's why people were constantly calling into my Patreon all football season saying, there's no way they're going to put the Bucks in their own stadium. And I kept saying the same thing to everybody. I said, it's the perfect year to do it. It's the year of coronavirus. They don't want people to travel. It's Tom Brady who does everything unprecedented. So just realize, con men try to make me look bad. Don't ever fall for any of these con men who accuse me of being what they are. Just like what Jeff Doherty did. Scumbags. The point is, we prove our points. We back it up. We make people big earnings. And the things that we say will happen continue to happen. So, again, everything that they're making fun of here, just in the last year, how many examples are there for every single one to back it up? Not only did we call the Super Bowl dead on, we called the World Series before the season began that the Dodgers would win and that they'd beat the Braves in the NLCS. Correct. Said LeBron would win the Lakers their 17th championship in his 17th season, exactly what he did last year. Said Alabama would win the championship the day Nick Saban came down with the virus because it was all synced up. Had the Masters right for the second year in a row. I'm forgetting a whole bunch of shit, Not to mention just routinely beating the daily sports games, too. It's just the fact that anybody's trying to make fun of me in 2021, they just have to be a total fraud and liar and the exact opposite of the truth. Celebrity politician deaths, okay, don't we prove that every single month on the 44-64 date and beyond by the exact same numbers? By sacrificing them by the numbers. Yeah, like there's not a song out there called Murder by Numbers and another song out there called Gematria the Killing Name on a nearly daily basis for no apparent reason. No, and again, the reason is because these people are playing God. They have these occult beliefs. Like I've said, watch the silly horror movie Cabin in the Woods, where if you haven't seen Cabin in the Woods, it's about how a government like a CIA entity has a cabin out in the woods and there's a military base under it, and they recruit young college children, and in it they get an athlete. And notice I'm routinely talking about college athletes dying suspiciously, but they get an athlete, one of the jocks, and some of the prettier girls and his buddy to go out to the cabin in the woods. And they do this year after year. They trick people into going to this cabin and they ritually sacrifice them. And as the CIA officials, the government people underground explain, they have to sacrifice these people to appease their gods. Otherwise, the gods will destroy the earth. Now, is that exactly what's going on? I'm not saying that's what it is, but this movie's giving you a hint at sort of what's going on, that the government is behind operations that are resulting in the ritual sacrifice of human beings for occult purposes. That's what you can take away from that movie. Because it's obvious, with songs like The Police, Murder by Numbers, The Police, and the police routinely reporting on these suspicious deaths and saying that, there's nothing suspicious. It's not hard to see what's going on here, you guys. You got to be dense. Yes, this is actually what he believes. No, it's not what I believe. It's what I think and prove. He is so sure, in fact, he's willing to put his entire family on the line on the bet that he's not wrong. Yeah, I would, because they're not wrong. And I'm not wrong. He proves, you see how they put it in quotes? How's this in quotes? Again, this is why I'd like these ballless cowards to debate. It would not go well for them. Be a lot of, back in 2016, back in 2016, really? That's where you have to go back to? That was the last time I missed on a future, wasn't it? How many we got right since then? He proves all this with his secret weapon, New Gematria. That was the first thing they did, was they set up this page, New Gematria, and then they decided to go after me. His very own conspiracy theory, which claims that the powers that be are the ones responsible for all of this. So anyway, If you want to come read this bullshit-ass page, and by the way, they also try to make it seem like I'm not a teacher. Anyone can look up my teaching license in Washington State. These people are frauds. But, yeah, it's just a joke. And even on the page, they're like, there's no proof that he's a teacher. Okay, why don't you look up Zachary Hubbard, Washington State? You'll be able to figure out which teaching license is mine. Definitely a certified teacher in Washington State. Not D.C., not Washington, D.C., Washington State, where the capital is Olympia. But, again, that's just how frauds are. They're the liars, and they try to paint me as liars. And realize, big tech, which continues to delete me, which is Jesuit-controlled, again, there can be no mistake about it. Google celebrates their birthday as the day the Jesuits were recognized by Rome, September 27th, the Jesuit Order 201, Sundar Pichai 201, and the most important ciphers outside of the base ciphers. Well, you notice how QAnon's 61? Look at Google. Google, the exact same as QAnon in the most simple cipher. And I told you guys who made QAnon viral? Google did. That's why it was obvious that it was their psyop. And what is Google? Google's something trying to play God. In Jewish gematria, God is 61, but QAnon is also 61. And remember, 61 comes from sacred geometry, the flower of life, the symbol that represents God. Google is trying to play God by controlling the information of the world. And that is a real good way to play God. If you control the information in the world, you can make people believe what God is. Case in point, the Bible. It was printed and put everywhere, the world's first book. How many people, because they got their hands on that book, the first printed book from the authorities, they believe it's the Word of God, even though it was made in a man-made printing press with a man-made English, Anyway, it's just such a joke. And again, another correct prediction. I said this years ago, that QAnon was a psyop pushed by Google that would be used to discredit us all. And now, years later, on my own videos, YouTube keeps saying that I'm QAnon. Isn't that a joke? Again, here's the closest I ever came to being QAnon. And this was total sarcasm. But I will just play this. Oh, good. They got me up to 66.6K subs. How nice of them. But here, let me... I think it's actually on GematriaEffectNews. It's on my main channel, which is suspended and about to be deleted for the 20th time by the YouTube Nazis. And again, the Nazis were a Jesuit operation. Jesuits control the history as we know it. That's why Adolf Hitler, 56, supposedly committed suicide at age 56. Here we go. Let me go back to my QAnon post. Here's the proof I'm in Q. What's sad is in the future, this will probably be on Rationale Wiki as proof that I'm part of QAnon. But again, for people who didn't, my mom watched this and didn't realize it was sarcasm. But anyway, here we go. This was the night before Joe Biden took office.
Welcome back, my fellow Qs. Don't you be disheartened about the news of Joe Biden taking office tomorrow. It is fake. Instead, it'll be 4 more years of Donald Trump in a Joe Biden costume. Trust the plan.
Okay, so purposefully acting like a crazy person with the crazy eyes. And again, it's because all the Q people... And even people who were calling into my show, they're like, Zach, you're going to be wrong. Biden's never going to take office. Just wait. And again, guy that routinely calls in and just, yeah. So anyway, that was me putting out my best Q imitation because that's the kind of shit they put out there. Just stupid ass stuff that's so stupid. And realize, how does that even go viral, you guys? Just trash information that you have to be retarded to believe in. Truly. That's what goes viral in our society. Meanwhile, somebody like myself who works real hard, who is transparent, who doesn't make you go solve and chase crazy-ass riddles that make no sense and put outlandish accusations and false information out there. Realize, Q was wrong about everything constantly, but it didn't lose its following. I'm right about nearly everything constantly. And, people just sit there and deny and denounce and... Again, what I was worried about when Q came out is that they were using Gematria. I said, this does not look good. This does not look good. This looks like it was brought here to discredit the work I am doing. And you know what? I guess Q's still hanging around there, but it's pretty much dead because it just had it had so many false predictions that people finally fell off. Again, it said that Biden would never take office. When that happened, I think for a lot of people that was, the end of their belief in Q. But some of them are still maintaining hope that Trump's going to reassume office on March 4th. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what theory is worth entertaining. That maybe Trump does return as president in the next election. That's one that has some possible merit, and we will continue to explore that more. But again, the reason that's possible is because if Biden dies in office and Kamala becomes number 47, it would give Trump the opportunity to become number 48, and he would win the 60th presidential election, which is the next. Donald Trump's 48 forward, 60 in reverse, just like how they took down his Trump casino in Atlantic City, Jesuit town, by the 48-60 combo. They did it on the 48th day of the year, February 17th, on a date with 60 numerology. So that's possible. That's possible that Trump could return in 2024, but it's surely not going to be March 4th. And again, that's a long time off. We got a lot more to focus on before then. But I'll tell you what, if Trump does end up being the nominee for the 60th presidential election, the numbers are there to support that he would win that. And again, the stuff they're about to do in this term with Biden and Kamala, which isn't them, they're just the Jesuit pawns, but it's about to piss off a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be up in arms, more so than they are now, 3-4 years from now. So anyway, if you guys want to support the work, go out and get the book. You can buy it on places besides Amazon, which I'll encourage you to do. Just search Number Games, Zachary K. Hubbard. The place to read the most reviews is on Amazon because majority of people buy their stuff there. But again, if you just do a web search for the book, it's out there. And what makes me sick is this little agent of the cabal, this little goon liar who's from Britain who claims to be from my city, Portland. His book just released on January 13th, and for his final marketing campaign, he used me getting pepper sprayed in the face. And realize this is somebody that gets to go on the mainstream media. He's someone that gets to go on Joe Rogan. He gets to go on all these platforms and promote himself. And he's just a shill agent fraud. And again, just more mockery. A guy with a British accent claiming to be from Portland, Oregon. I mean, what could be stupider? But look at how many reviews his book has. Already that many. And I realized my book would have more reviews. A lot of you guys are writing me and saying that, Zach, I'm leaving a review and it's never showing up. I'm leaving you a great review, it's never showing up. So I'm sure that's the censorship. Just like how Amazon's taken my book off their page, shadow banned the Kindle version. They did bring it back, did all the trouble at first when the book came out with saying the book wouldn't be in stock for 4 months. You'd have to wait 4 months to get the book. Again, they've done nothing but sabotage my book, Amazon. But again, this goon right here, it's got the bestseller. And this is just, again, this Andy knows, not against Antifa. Antifa's Jesuit, Andy knows Jesuit. We already proved that. Go back and see the work on it. But this fucking goon had somebody come and instigate what I was doing. I went down and confronted Antifa in Portland, Oregon, because they were harassing a bookstore. I gave out free copies of my book to them. I talked to them about things. And it was hard because, Antifa's a wild mob. But while that was going on, people were also showing up from my community to meet me and have me sign the book and talk to me. One gentleman showed up with his wife and friend, and while I was talking to them, Antifa started screaming that this gentleman was taller, too. He was the tallest person in the crowd who I was talking to, who was next to his wife. While I'm talking to him, all of a sudden Antifa starts screaming that he said the N-word. And what had happened just moments before that is a big black man had showed up with Black Lives Matter gear. He was a big dude. Like a defensive end in the NFL. Big guy. 6'3", 6'4". I couldn't even guess his weight exactly. But somewhere probably around 260 pounds, if not more. Big man. He had just shown up. And there was already another big black dude who was there from Black Lives Matter. But he was all right. Him and I were talking and joking back and forth. And, he made fun of me a little bit. And I gave him a hard time about his mask. And it was all fun. It's not like we were mad at each other. But then this other dude who showed up, who was even bigger than him, and it was shortly after he had just showed up that all of a sudden Antifa started screaming that this taller guy had said the N-word, which he did not say. He'd said, I was there for peace and love and to share knowledge and information with you guys. That's what he'd said. And so the really big black guy who just showed up right before this happened, he comes over charging at the guy to start a fight, and I jump between him. I was trying to calm down. I'm like, listen, man, he didn't say that. I said he's here to spread knowledge and information just like how we brought my books. But anyway, the guy was just too big. He shoved me out of the way, and then he went after the taller guy. And then somebody was across the street and started recording like right at that moment. And then what it captures from there is me trying to come and get this big guy, because I was trying to hold his arm because he's trying to like swing and get in a fight with the other dude who said nothing. And he's there with his wife, and I just met the guy, but I already have an interest in protecting him because he's there with his significant other, and he's getting accused, and a mob's around us. So I was grabbing the big guy from behind and trying to hold him back and just say, man, stop. He didn't. But the big guy was too big, and I'm pulling back with all my weight. He just shoved me to the ground. So I got up real quick, and then I came back over because somebody came and knocked my big tall guy to the ground, blindsided him, and then the big guy was getting on top of him, so I came and yanked the big guy. But then I got pepper sprayed in the face by Antifa. Well, all this got captured on camera. Andy No, the author of this book, had a video up right away and said, this is why you guys got to go out and buy my book. They're actually getting a fight in front of Pal's Books over my book right now. Just blatantly false. What was really going on is we were giving out my book and educating these people about how they were bringing more attention to Andy No, and I was trying to show them how Andy No's an operative controlling the same thing that they're a part of. And so Andy No put out that video of the day. I've got a bunch of views, ton of comments like, wow, your book must be so good. I'm definitely going to go out and buy that. And then the day before his book came out, he re-uploaded the video, again, showing me getting pepper sprayed in the face and saying, see, these are people fighting over my book in front of Pal's Books. That's how big of a scumbag this guy is. This supposed dude from Portland with the British accent who gets backed up by Joe Rogan and the mainstream fraud media. And again, has to use me getting pepper sprayed in the face. And all I tried to do was break up a fight and protect a man who was getting jumped by a group of people, you know, that were just an angry mob. But you just realize what a whole... It just in hindsight, it just all dawned on me just how big of a setup it was. The big guy showed up who was there to fight, and then people pointed out that he has all sorts of videos in Portland beating people's ass all summer. I mean, he's built to fight. He's a huge, strong man. He's like a defensive end in the NFL. You know, a guy had 100 pounds on me. And I'm 5'10". He had like at least 6 inches, 100 pounds. But I still got right between him and tried to stop the fight, and I still tried to hold him back. And... I went back to hold him back again, but then I got pepper sprayed in the face. And, you know, it's just, this is what it is, you guys. And my one fault was probably broadcasting a week in advance that I was going to be there to do that. So it allowed Andy No and his shill Jesuit team to set up there, be across the street, have the scene ready, you know, just waiting for the right time to ignite the fire. Accuse a guy of saying the N-word right after the big bruiser fighter had showed up to set off the mob to attack us. And then somebody, if you go back and watch the video in slow motion, you can see that person was walking around with their bare pepper spray in their can trying to target me several times before they finally got the angle at my face and then laid waste. And again, for all my haters, it's just like, are you guys going out and taking Antifa on face-to-face? Are you guys going out and raising awareness on the streets of Seattle about Event 201? And again, it was the same thing there, too. Big Al was out there, and he noticed how there's people all around us, you know, sunglasses on, hats, snapping photos. I mean, you guys, I am under the watchful eye. I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to continue to fight and put out this information. I'm not worried about what consequences might come that haven't already come. And again, I mean, I'm not saying this just to say it. I would rather die doing this work than sit around and do nothing and just watch the world go to shit and become more and more frustrating. And if you can't get down with that and you can't support that, well, guess what? The cabal has you right where they want you. They've emasculated you. They've made you a pussy. And they just know you're just nothing. You're just going to be there being nothing while their agenda wages on. And for the chump who will leave the comment like, well, you're not doing enough either, it's still going on. Yeah, that's because you pussies aren't helping me out. Imagine if all you pussies started helping me out back in 2013. Imagine how much further along we'd be. Okay? Only dummies are arguing with me and trying to put me down. Supporting frauds like this. This guy's a real nutless loser. Goes on Joe Rogan and says he had a brain hemorrhage from getting a silly stringed in the face. Here, actually, I'm going to call this fraud out too, man. I'll tell you what it was. Never mind. I was going to say, meeting Sweet Lady who's Asian was good for me. I got to be honest. I used to have I have a love for a lot of Asian people, but there's been some Asian people that really pissed me off in my life, especially when the whole Asian persuasion thing was going on in the 90s. The only time I ever got jumped in my life before this Antifa thing was by an Asian persuasion crew. And I'll tell you what, It wasn't me who lost that fight. And for all of you who think I look like a pussy because of what Antifa did, realize I wasn't trying to fight you guys. I was trying to hold back a big man who was trying to beat somebody up who did nothing. That wasn't me trying to fight, okay? And for all of you who think you can go toe-to-toe with somebody who has 100 pounds and 6 inches on you, here, upload the video of how that looks for you, too. I bet pussies like you would never stand in the way of a person like that who you didn't even know. And it wasn't just him I got between. I got between him and the other big black guy. Between the two of them, they probably weighed 500 pounds. And I stood there and held him back for a moment, and I bought my big man some time. Had I not done that, things might have got a lot different for him. You know, and had I not jumped out there and ran back up after he shoved me down and pulled him back off before he landed that blow on top of him, things could have been a lot different for my man. So in hindsight, you know, I don't feel any embarrassment about what happened. Yeah, I did get shoved down to the ground by a big dude, but you know what? I also protected another man who came out to support me, and I kept it from getting ugly for him. And then he ended up looking pretty good himself, because once he got to his feet, he held his own. But anyway, for all of you who think that was fighting, that wasn't fighting. And for all of you who think you'd get in this fight around a mob of people who are holding weapons, please. You guys are internet clowns. But here's the fraud, Andy No, who got silly stringed by Antifa. And notice, silly string is 56, like Society of Jesus. And let me see. What else do I have up here? Again, the video he uploaded, this is us right here. You can see my Truth Matters hat back here. This is how it all went down. But his clip, even the clip he uploaded to this little stage scene, this person right here with the black, with the demon white eyes, this is who ends up bear spraying me in the face. This guy with the gold glittery things, the dude that was already there, who's kind of a character, and the guy with the other mask on over his face is the bruiser who just showed up moments before to start the fight. But they even upload a 54-second clip, you guys. Andy No's silly string incident was June 29th, 2019, a 54-date numerology. And by the way, this Proud Boys guy, where's he at? Where's that Proud Boys guy at? I just realized that the Proud Boys guy, remember Proud Boys equals 45 forwards and backwards, they're the Trump supporters. Him and Andy No organized an event together in Portland back in 2019. So it's like, look how all this shit comes together. But if you look up this guy and you look up Andy No, there's no known information about their birthdays anywhere. They don't even know what year they're born in. It's just so obvious that all these are just media, actors, stooges, agents. But this Andy No, I mean, just you couldn't get a bigger joke. Asian guy with a British accent who says he's from Portland. And yeah, I was going to say, back in the 90s, I had a little Asian crew try to jump me, and I'll tell you what, it wasn't me who got beat up. I put 2 of those guys on their ass, and they didn't fuck with me anymore. And I don't even know why they were trying to mess with me that day anyway. So, but yeah, the whole Asian persuasion thing in the 90s. But here's Andy No. And, yeah. He gets silly stringed and then he goes on the news right after and supposedly he has a black eye. I mean, just media makeup, just total fake fraud. And you can just know these people are total scumbags. You can know that they are total scumbags. He got all this media recognition after that on July 2nd, 7-2, right where we started with the whole Jesuit order Syria bombing thing. But these are their pawns, you guys. Jesuit mind control everywhere. They're agents everywhere, you know. The media is fake. This guy gets silly string. This is the first guy in the history of the world to get silly string and have a black eye. You know, total fraud. Has to use me getting pepper sprayed in the face to market his own book. He doesn't have enough marketing already. You know, Joe Rogan and all this, mainstream media. Imagine if they put me on the mainstream media. If you watch Andy No, well, again, I don't mean to be, this isn't some hateful, inspired message. I've learned since that he's actually a homosexual. And again, I'm not saying this because he's a homosexual. I don't care what your sexuality is. I don't care if you're a lesbian or whatever. You do what you want to do. That's free will. But what I do care about is how there's an agenda to emasculate men. And when this guy speaks, he's just so emasculated and weak and feminine. And again, that's not good. Men aren't supposed to be like women. It's not the way men are supposed to be, but more and more they are. And here you have this weak, emasculated man using me as a marketing tool for his propaganda-based book when he serves the same thing that controls Antifa, which are the Jesuits. Jesuits control all aisles of the spectrum. That's the thing. You have to be the opposition. You got to get ahead of the opposition. That's what QAnon is. Jesuit psyop. Take people looking for the truth, put them right back in the Jesuit box, believing in the political system that they control. You know. So, and again, this reminds me why back in the 90s, we used to say you don't want to be an F. You know what that word is, right? F, the word related to homosexuality, because it wasn't a good thing. You know, Fs weren't the kind of people you wanted to be like. Kind of people that would, you know, take somebody else's work, claim it for theirs, use it to market their own piece of shit book that does nothing for humanity. Back in the 90s, that was the definition of an F. You didn't want to be an F. If you got called an F on the playground, you better step your game up so you don't get called an F tomorrow, you know? But, yeah, just total fraud. Guy claims that he had a brain hemorrhage from silly string. Unbelievable. And did you see Joe Rogan and the mainstream media come to our rescue? I mean, couldn't the mainstream media have ran the story of Zachary K. Hubbard, who wrote Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus, went in front of Pal's Books and cleared out the Antifa protesters, which is a true story. We got Antifa to leave from front of Pal's Books, which is the biggest tourist attraction in Portland. We got them to leave. Our community of people who are about truth and gematria. Why wasn't that a news story? How come that didn't make the news? How come me taking the pepper spray in the face for trying to break up a fight of an innocent man, how come that didn't get some sort of notoriety? Why didn't CNN knock down my door? Fox News at my door? You know, how come that didn't happen? You guys can't see? The forest for the trees. You know? I got this bimbo in our community. She got mad at me because she asked to come stay at my house for a week. Yeah, sweet lady's going to want a woman to come here and stay with me. I'm sure she's going to be on board with that. So I said, no, I'm sorry, you can't come here and stay at my house for a week and help us. That's just not going to work out. So what happens to her? Next thing I know, she's at High Impact Flicks channel in the comments spamming about what a mean person I am, how I'm probably a shill, how I'm just here to raise money. Are you serious, bimbo? Are you serious, bimbo? You're in High Impact Flicks channel spamming shit like that? The guy who hucks 2 products and brings jack shit to the table? Guy that steals everybody else's work and regurgitates it as his so he can sell products? And I realize now that woman was just an operative the whole time, just hanging around. But wow. Oh, because I said you can't come stay at my house for a week? Now we got a problem, huh? And it's not like she was homeless or anything. She lives in a house. She's retired. She's 50 years old. No, I wasn't going to let... I mean, why do you need to come stay at my house to help me? No. Doesn't that seem weird, you guys? I mean, this is the kind of shit I have to deal with. This is the kind of shit I have to deal with. It's like, God, people are annoying. And I start to wonder about the people who email me every day and just like small talk and all this stuff. I try to be nice to people. It takes up a lot of time out of my day. But like a woman recently who's just been annoying me, she wrote an email. She said, Zach, it actually looks like you're doing your own Rationale wiki page as much as it's updated. Are you sure you're not doing it yourself? It's like, what the fuck, bitch? You've been wasting my time. I've been trying to be nice to you for months. What kind of fucking stupid email is this to write? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm updating and working so hard on the Rationale wiki page to slander me. I mean, how fucking dumb are you? And to be honest, this woman's kind of been just an annoyance to me because when my book came out, I sent her 1 copy of the book. And then she said, I paid for 2 copies. I paid you $15 and you said you delivered 2 copies for $15. And I said, no, that's not what I said. I said when I first started writing the book, the price of it was $15, and if I could afford to send you 2, I would. Remember, the original book that I wrote was about 150 pages long. But then George Floyd happened, because I was about to put out the book around the time of George Floyd. But then the George Floyd thing happened, and I just realized there was way more layers to this. The book ended up being... Oh yeah, I made it 365 pages long, like the days in the year. How can I forget that? The book ended up being over twice as long. A book that's over twice as long costs over twice as much to produce. The cost for me to print this book is, it's like $10.50 about, okay? $10.50. The cost to ship the book, well, now the cost of shipping's gone up, but when I was first shipping it, the shipping came out for media mail. It really did come out at $3.33. I didn't plan that. It's just the way it worked out with the weight. But $3.33, shout out to Holly, who's always been an angel in my life, who helped me edit the first book. I should have had her help me edit the second book, because then there'd probably be no typos in it. But so add that up, you guys. $10.50 plus $3.33. What is that? So it's like $13.83 a book, right? Not to mention the package. This packaging, when you buy it in bulk, you have to buy it in bulk to get it down. This packaging with the padding costs more than 40 cents. That's a thing. This thing right here, you know, the return address slip, that costs money. You start adding in these miscellaneous costs, this book costs over $14 to ship, right? Over $14. And Not to mention my time of going to the post office, driving to the post office, miles on the car, gas. I sold, I want to say close to like, it was more than 1,000 of the orders were at $15, you guys. So think about the margin, the profit I made on over 1,000 books and the time of packaging. I mean, you guys see how, remember the time I did the live stream packaging up like 200 books? That was like an 8-hour live stream. This is time. So do the math. For over 1,000 of the sales, you guys, I made less than $1. Less than $1 in profit per book sale. And it wasn't just her. I had several people like that who wanted 2 copies of the book, so I sent them 2 copies. So guess what? I lost money on all those. And it's not like I argued with her. I said, okay, you misunderstood me, but I'm sending you a second copy of the book. So on a person like her, I lost money sending 2 copies of the book. And then every day just writing emails, questions, answering questions, taking time out of them. And then this has been going on since like September, right? Putting all this time in. Well, now I'm just going to ignore this person's emails because they just pissed me off the other day. It looks like you're writing your own rationale wiki page and you're just trying to bring attention. It's like, get the fuck out of here. And then that's when I realized these people are probably just agents. It's probably just another agent there who even knows if it's a real woman, you know? She's acting like she's this woman that needs attention. And then it's just like, God, after 6 months of putting all this time in and just answering every last question, you're writing shit like this? God, it's just frustrating, you guys. It's just frustrating, man. Trying to do something right every day and you just got people harassing you and falsely accusing you and not doing jack shit and costing you money and can't be understanding, have no listening skills. Again, if it wasn't for the people like the Miss Mildreds of the world, for the Chagozis, the Kaylas, the people who are genuine supporters, you know, the people who mean well and do support the Patreon every month, if it wasn't for these people, I'd quit, you guys. Not because I'm a quitter, but just because I see the world's mostly a bunch of fucking losers who don't deserve jack shit. And actually what they do deserve is the hell we're living in that the Jesuits are giving them. That they're too blind and too fucking stupid to see, even though it's been spelled out crystal clear for how long now? You know? So. And if my voice sounds different, it's because I'm trying to talk quiet the whole time. Like I said, sweet lady's studying, and she says the quiet voice yesterday worked, so I'm going to keep working with the quiet voice. But, yeah, I'm going to leave it there, Truth Seeker. It's time to make another post office run.